Okay, to wrap up this image, I'm going to add a bit of copy by going into my Layers palette, hitting this T icon to open up the Edit Text layer, and I'm going to type in the word stork. To change the color, I'm going to select it, hit this color icon. Here, my brightness slider, I'm going to slide to white and hit enter. And now you can see that it's made white. Now, if it wasn't selected, you wouldn't be able to see because it's on a white background. If you want to adjust the size or the font, you can click on the fonts button and open up these other options. I'm just going to make it a bit bigger, and I'm going to leave the font where it is. Hit OK. Now, right now we don't see it because it's behind our stork. So the Move tool opens up automatically, and I'll just click and drag and put it somewhere that I think would make sense. I'm going to zoom out, holding spacebar. And I feel like I don't need to overwhelm this with copy, so I'm not going to make it too big. Just want to find just the right place for it. I think here might work just fine. And then I'm going to add one more graphical element in a new layer behind the text by adding a new layer. And I also want to delete at this point any layers I don't need. I definitely don't need my sketch layer anymore. So I'm going to go into my Layers palette, click on it, hold and drag until I see the delete layer icon. This is our copy, so it's getting a little confusing. I'm going to click on my copy icon or layer, click and drag to rename the layer, and I'll rename it copy. I won't name it stork because I already have a layer named stork. I'm going to go in, and with this last layer, I'm going to use my chisel brush, my chisel tip marker. I'm going to go to the top toolbar, hit the line tool, and I'm going to add just a couple of graphical elements. I'm also going to use the brackets to size up my brush so that when I drag my line tool, it makes a thicker line. I'm doing this because I feel like it's also a nice contrast between the long flowy lines of my stork and the splatter, the chaotic splatter of my ink brushes. I think this is going to be my finished piece. You can always go in with your chisel tip. Remember to take off your line tool, go into your freehand. You can always zoom in, clean up any little details that you want to. I want to just touch up this eye. And I think I'm pretty happy. I'm going to go in and just select this white and make a very small brush using the brackets and just add a few lines. Undo until you get what you want. There you go. And I did that so that, again, I could balance this because even though this is a big white shape, there's black carrying on through it in the outline. So I wanted to just bring in a little bit of white outline to indicate some feather breakup. Hold down space to zoom out. And this is our stork poster. I'm going to lastly just show you. I'm going to click on my grid tool, my grid layer that is, and I'm going to move it up a section just so that we can see where the most important things in our image wound up according to the rule of thirds. You can see here, starting from our beak, working our way back to this quadrant, our second quadrant, and we have interesting dynamic between our white and our black. Leading down, really the center has not much importance, but going down towards this quadrant, we have the very dynamic graphical shape of our wing, which is an area of interest, which leads us down towards the end of the page. This composition works also because the sharp edges and the curves and the way I place the text creates an arrow pointing directly to where I want your eye to go. I'm going to turn off my grid, delete it because I don't need it, and I'm going to call this done. This is Fred Gago for Compositions in SketchBook Pro, number 6 from Autodesk. Enjoy!